All right. Time, week 6, start sit advice. Here we are, fantasy football endgame communities. Welcome back. We appreciate you. As always, if you're new to our channel, welcome. Glad you're here. Of course, you're going to come back every week once you hear all the amazing advice we give you. Now, honestly, hopefully, again, we are hoping to help you win. This show, just like every video that we put out, it's not about us. It's about you. It's about your team. You know, the old saying is, oh, nobody cares about your fantasy team. We actually do. Isn't that right, Chris?
That's right. We definitely do.
All right. That's why we're here, not to talk about our weekends or anything else. We could go on and on and on, but we're not. Okay, so he's Chris. I'm Pierre. We're the end game. Let's first start out, as always do on these live shows, talk about latest news and injuries, and look forward to, by the way, going forward on Mondays, I believe, right? Monday, we're going to start doing a little injury report post Sunday week, whatever, wrap up, because it seems to be that's just sadly the growing trend. The most important thing you need to know every week is who's hurt, who's playing, like who's physically on the field. There's so many injuries we're going to talk to just about this week, especially running backs. So we're going to start putting that out. Waiver wires, I know, are thin, right? Each and every week. It's hard to find guys. You know, everyone's already handcuffing their handcuff. So instead of the waivers, we're going to combine waivers and injury reports. So look for that coming on Monday. All right. So let's start with the very sad news. I believe Chris's two favorite players in the world, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, both out. Not just out, but on IR. McCaffrey, if you guys didn't hear, was placed on IR just today, out for at least 3 games. What is he going to be like when he comes back? Who knows? We have no idea at this point, but yeah, hopefully you held on to Chuba Hubbard. If you can ask a Chuba Hubbard question, the answer is yes. You probably want to play him unless you have a really high-end option otherwise, but McCaffrey is out. Keep that in mind. Saquon Barkley, you already knew was out. Devontae Booker looks like the guy there. Nick Chubb is out, officially declared yesterday, not going to play. And just for fun, just to kind of twist the knife a little bit, Kareem Hunt is questionable. Everyone says it's going to be Kareem Hunt RB1 week. I think he's going to play. I don't think we haven't heard any updates on there. He's questionable because of a wrist injury. I don't think it's going to keep him out. So I'm pretty sure he's going to play. Chris, you don't have any news on that front, do you?
No news on that front, but I did hear that Nick Chubb may go on IR here. So could be a rough week.
That's special. That's what that is. We'll see. That hasn't happened yet, but it's a calf injury, and it didn't seem like it hurt him too much last week. Big game, but man, that would change things in a hurry. So anyways, no Nick Chubb. Let's see what other big name running backs are out. Oh yeah, Chris Carson, you already know, on IR, that neck issue. Now we have heard that he hasn't had a setback. It doesn't seem like it's that he's necessarily getting worse or there's something season ending there, but they're going to play it safe because, well, they don't have Russell Wilson anyways. So yeah, that Seattle offense is definitely going to take a hit, but no Chris Carson. And of course, no Russell Wilson. You know, Geno Smith is the guy there at quarterback. Let's keep going. Damien Williams, you were so happy to pick him up because David Montgomery is on IR. Well, guess what? Damien Williams not going to play because of COVID. That's such a 2021 thing. So now it's Khalil Herbert. He's the guy, pretty much the only guy there, because I don't even know who else they have. Ryan Nall, I think they activated from the practice squad, and you do not want to start him or even think about him unless you're in like a 16-team league. And even then, you probably have a better option. So no Damien Williams. Hold on to him. Don't panic or do anything with him. Just hold on to him. Kenny Golladay is out, but on the other hand, for the Giants, actually some good news. Sterling Shepard is back and playing. And then Darius Slayton has been practicing and looks like he will play, what we've heard. And Daniel Jones is definitely going to play. So that's sort of good news for the Giants, despite the fact that they're missing some people still. Sammy Watkins is out, but Rashad Bateman is in. He's going to make his debut, first game for the rookie, a guy we were super high on until he got drafted by Baltimore. But now that Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball like crazy, we can be super high on him again, right? So definitely looking forward to Bateman's debut, and Watkins is not going to play. Devontae Parker made the trip to London. They were telling us yesterday, and I guess he's just going to enjoy the box seat because he's out, not going to play. in London against the Jaguars. That means another week where we can expect heavy usage for Jalen Waddle and then be disappointed when he doesn't get it. And then another week of Myles Gaskin absolutely making you cry after you dropped or traded him before. Jarvis Landry was activated off IR, right? But not going to play in week 6. So he's not on IR anymore. So you have to get him out of that IR slot, but you can't play him. Or I guess you could if you're okay with a 0. And then Juju is out. That's no big loss there. He was getting you 0 anyways, even when he was in your lineup. Now, I already talked about Kareem Hunt being questionable. Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift rolling as questionable. Swift is good to go. Jamal Williams is going to be a game time decision. So I think we might get some Williams questions. Really risky to roll him out. I'm just going to say, Chris, I love DeAndre Swift this week. I actually put him in a couple of GPP lineups and some DFS lineups. I think this is a Swift week. Are you feeling me there?
Oh, for sure, especially with Jamal Williams questionable and Cincinnati allowing the most receptions. I think the most or the second most receptions to running backs this year. So definitely feeling a Swift week. Yes.
It's what we call a slate breaker. So consider DeAndre Swift in a lot of places. Damien Harris really hasn't broken anything except for hearts this year, but he is questionable. A little chest injury after Bill Belichick punched him too hard for fumbling last week. But Damien Harris, I think he'll go. That's the question. Will he be effective? That's the other question. Going against Dallas, who knows how many carries he'll get. But keep in mind, he's definitely iffy. Mike Williams is that right? Doubtful for this week?
Well, okay, he's not. I put doubtful there. He's not officially listed as doubtful. I believe he's listed as questionable. But last I heard, he has swelling in the knee, and he didn't practice all week. That's usually not a good sign. And even if he does play, you got to worry. Is it going to be like, remember Keenan Allen? I think it was week 15 or week 14 last year, where it's like, no, he's good. He played, and then he played like 5 snaps and you never saw him again. So definitely not feeling good about Mike Williams here in week 6.
And that's interesting that I think that happened with Williams a couple times where he was kind of banged up, and he didn't miss a lot of games last year. I think he only missed like 1, but where they've done that before, the Chargers, where they throw guys out as a decoy, right? Mm-hmm. But this is a new coach, and then new coach that everybody loves. And, he's very forthcoming, very different. I don't know if he would do that. I think they would err on the side of not playing him, but be prepared to be without Mike Williams. Like I said, not practicing at all. That's a big red flag. And, your boy, Terry McLaurin, questionable too, but last I heard he's good to go. He should be good to go.
Well, I don't think they've said officially good to go. So it's always worrisome when a guy practices all week and then doesn't practice Friday, because you think, what happened? But they did say he was feeling better today and he should play tomorrow, but you definitely are going to have to keep an eye on that, because this is you talk about another slate breaker. Terry McLaurin could be a slate breaker because, no Curtis Samuel, no Logan Thomas, really no wide receivers against the Chiefs. He could also be a slate breaker tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. And whether McLaurin plays or doesn't play, obviously if he doesn't, that makes the other guys on Washington, somebody like DeAndre Carter, who nobody had any awareness of before last week. They just elevated Antonio Gandy-Golden from the practice squad. Some of those other receivers, Curtis Samuel not playing too, by the way, we should mention. So a lot of those other guys for Washington, especially my boy Ricky Seals-Jones, they could have big games against Kansas City. And let's end with the good news. Dalvin Cook is going to play. That's a miracle. Geno Smith is going to play. Thank God for that.
That's also a miracle.
That's a miracle for another reason.
Did not expect that.
And my boy Tua is going to play. The Savior is back. So there we go. Look, we need something, and I think it would be nothing short of a miracle if the Dolphins win a game these days.
Well, they have to. They got to win. This is a must-win for the Dolphins. Must-win.
Can we say we're going to get to the questions before we start? If the Dolphins lose to Jacksonville with Tua back, do I just retire this hat in shame? Do I burn it in the fire?
I think you might have to. I don't know. Maybe you have to put. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a different hat to put up there. A Jaguars hat? I don't know.
I actually have a Jaguars hat. True story. I'm from Florida. Obviously, I'm from Miami. So when the Jaguars first had a team, I was like, yeah, Florida team. And now I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Anyways,
All right. Well,
I'm not a Jaguar hater.
if the Dolphins lose, I expect to see a Jaguars hat up there next week.
That will make Jeremy very happy. All right, Jeremy, just for you, I'll do that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. All right. So with all of that out of the way, let's get to the start sit questions. And one last thing let me mention, because this is going to be something we'll repeat over and over again. We're going to try to get as many your questions in as possible. It is going to be impossible to get to all of them because, again, we can't do this all night long, as fun as it is. We just can't. And so if you don't get your question answered, you might consider joining our Patreon. The information is going to be in the description below, because as a patron for just $5, basically the price of 2 of these fine carbonated beverages, which we call Bang. So for 2 of those, become a patron. You can join us Sunday morning every single week, and 2 hours before kickoff, we'll start and answer all your start sit questions, just like here, except it's a far smaller group. You get a Zoom call with us, one-on-one conversation. And so we can answer all sorts of questions. We really appreciate the guys who support us from the beginning. So join now and you get every question you want answered. Again, right with before kickoff, the most up-to-date information. So think about it, won't you?
Yes.
All right, Chris, let's go. Let's go ahead and start with the questions.
All right. Well, speaking of, we have a super chat. Thank you, Easy Money Sicilian. I think you were here last week. And I think you super chatted last week as well. And again, I think pretty much for the amount you super chatted now, like Pierre said, you have an entire month with us. So we appreciate the super chat. We really do. But we'd love to have you as a patron and be there every month with us, every Sunday of every month. But let's get to it. And here's an interesting one. We got a tight end one right off the bat. Dawson, Knox, or TJ Hawkinson in PPR?
It goes against my nature to say this, but I'm not playing TJ Hawkinson. You got to go with Knox, first of all. The way he's rolling, there's absolutely no way you can sit him. And going against Tennessee, I mean, that's a good matchup, if anything. So there's no way you cannot play Knox. And then Hawkinson, I know he practiced and he's coming back. He's just not getting the target share. And maybe it's because of the injury. Maybe it's because Jared Goff now is just looking towards other guys. I don't think that I could sit Knox.
Yeah. Can't sit Knox. He's been too good. And then he's also asking Joe Mixon or Thielen, again, PPR in the flex. What
we are hearing is that Mixon's going to get his full workload,
yes.
Which some people were like, oh, so 10 carries. I would go with Mixon because, he's probably going to get whatever you call a full workload, because Pirine is on the COVID list. Didn't mention him because he's not like overly fantasy relevant, and back me up on this, Chris, if I'm wrong, I don't think Pirine's going to play because they elevated Travion Williams from the practice squad and Pirine's out, right?
Yeah, Pirine's out. But don't forget, they do have Chris Evans, who's my worry with Mixon is since week 1, we haven't really seen him play any passing downs or really get any target share. Now it's Detroit. He could smash. He could get 20 carries and smash because it's Detroit. They're so bad. So I got to go Mixon here. If he gets 2 to 3 catches on top of that, he's going to absolutely smash. So for me, I got to go Mixon.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. Thielen is fine, but Carolina's not only has a good defense, but they're improving that secondary every single week. They keep adding all these Pro Bowl players somehow. So I think Thielen's okay, but Dalvin Cook's back, remember? So, it's not going to be them relying on the pass game. So you got to go with Mixon.
Yeah, we have another super chat from Kyle Haddad. Thank you. Start one between Brandon Cooks, Antonio Gibson, or Chuba Hubbard. Our first Chuba question.
So, again, I would say start Chuba unless you have a better guy. Well, Antonio Gibson's a better guy. I mean, I think you have to place Gibson over Chuba, especially going to Kansas City. Kansas City, not just a bad pass defense, a bad run defense too. In fact, I think I had Gibson as one of my must starts this week. So to me, it's Gibson.
Yeah, to me, it's Gibson as well. Kansas City giving up a score on almost half of their drives. The Kansas City defense, that is, giving up a score on almost half of their drives. Gibson has a great chance to score a touchdown in this one. It should be an insanely high-scoring game because that that defense is not going to be able to stop my football team. They're going to win, but they're not going to be able to stop the football team. All right, Heath Johnson, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Hey, guys, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You must be on the West Coast like me. Otherwise, it's evening. Michael Dobbs, second week in a row. Sorry, Michael, I think you might have been second, but we appreciate you. All right, Gabriel Monte, Myles Gaskin, Marvin Jones, or Javonte Williams, full PPR.
Full PPR makes me want to give the edge to Gaskin over Williams, just because, again, Javonte Williams, we know he's a stud, but we know he's still being kind of held back by Melvin Gordon's touch share. It's a good matchup with the Raiders. But again, when you talk about ceiling, and we didn't think Gaskin really had a ceiling until last week. We saw it. And now, we know Parker's out, Fuller's still out, Tua's back. I think you've got to feel good about Gaskin, as good as you can, at least after last week going against Jacksonville. I would put Gaskin in over Williams for sure. Full PPR, do I go with Gaskin over receiver? I think probably. I think I'll probably have Gaskin.
Even against I know, look, the Jacksonville passing attack is so bad, and you just never know week to week. Against Miami, every receiver smashes against Miami. And I'm a little nervous about Myles. Okay, I get it. Myles gets Jacksonville. There's not a lot to be worried about in that defense, but he had 10 catches last week. And you look at the Bucs. You look at the Bucs prior to, the Eagles don't run the ball, but they do give up a lot of receptions to running backs. I do worry that we're going to see more, because this isn't going to be a game where the Bucs are going to, like last week where the Bucs are rolling them. It's going to be a closer game. Hopefully Miami wins the game. They should. So I think we're going to see more Ahmed and more Malcolm Brown than we did in week 5. So they're all risky. They're all risky. None of these guys are dogs. I like the upside of Marvin Jones against the Dolphins, they give up every receiver that plays him and goes for 1,000 yards. You know how it goes.
I do. Sadly. And here's the other thing. Xavier Howard, let me double check. He was not going to play either. I think him and Devontae Parker. That's their Pro Bowl corner, the best player on their defense. I mean, that clearly gives a shot for Marvin Jones. But here's the problem I have. Urban Meyer. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This is Jacksonville. Jacksonville was supposed to do really well last week. Laviska Shenault, everybody and their mother said he was going to break out, myself included. Didn't happen. Okay, fine. What did Marvin Jones do? He had 1 catch, right? Didn't he have 1 catch for 5 yards or something like that?
Well, yeah. That's why I say all these guys are risky.
Yeah, they're all risky. Look, Jones he's probably the highest ceiling play, but Gaskin's the highest floor play, because Jones could literally do nothing. Gaskin will get you. Actually, I think Gaskin's going to have a better game on the ground than through the air. Last week, like you said, the game script meant he caught a ton of passes. He should still catch a few, but the Jacksonville defense is much worse against running backs, on the ground than they are against pass. So I think that he'll be fine, get his usual 60, 70 yards on the ground. So I think Gaskin's fine. If you want the chance for a boom play, hope that Marvin Jones, hits a home run, then you probably go Marvin Jones.
All right, we got another super chat from No Chill, new to the channel. So No Chill, I'm just letting you know, since you're new to the channel, we appreciate the super chat. But for the price that you just super chatted us, the exact price, you could go down below, join our Patreon, support us every month, and you could be on a show just like this every Sunday morning. It's a very small, very intimate group, one-on-one with us every Sunday morning for the same price. But we do appreciate it. So check that out if you're interested, which we hope you are. He says, thanks for being here for us, guys. Of course, love the show. Thank you. He needs 1 in the flex for PPR, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, or Rondale Moore.
I don't think you can play Hilton. Just coming off IR, and who knows? Yeah, let's forget Hilton for this week, just because they're playing Houston. I like St. Brown. I think I mentioned that. I have him as a guy, of course, to pick up. One of the waiver wire pickups last 2 weeks. I said he's the leading receiver for Detroit last couple of weeks. Just talked about Hawkinson, how he's kind of been phased out a little bit, mainly due to injury. But Goff has come out and said he likes St. Brown, and it's obvious on the field he's targeting him the most. And they're expecting him to keep stepping up. I think his target share grows. I think St. Brown leads the team in receptions again today, or not today, tomorrow. And I mean, it's not a bad matchup. It's okay. Cincinnati's kind of middle of the pack in terms of pass defense, but I really like what St. Brown is doing. And, he was a popular preseason sleeper for this reason. Slow start, but of course he's a rookie. So I think that he's going to kind of be the leading receiver here on out for Detroit.
Yeah, I like St. Brown too. I also like Rondell Moore if you're looking for more of the upside. We saw last week he ran more routes than anybody but DeAndre Hopkins. And he had more targets than anybody but DeAndre Hopkins. I think they're starting to get him a little more involved in different ways. So I like that. Definitely St. Brown's safer because probably going to have a higher target share. This Detroit offense, it doesn't really give guys a ton of upside unless they're DeAndre Swift, who catches, 6 passes out of the backfield. So I can go either way with those guys. I guess it's more if you want the safety of St. Brown or do you want the boom potential of Rondell Moore? Because I like them both a lot this week, to be honest.
Yeah, with Moore, it's hard to predict to the Cardinals offense who's going to shine. And so that's the thing. Moore could go off. He could be quiet. I do like the fact they don't have their tight end. Of course, they got Zach Ertz, but they're not going to have him until next week. So there could be a couple more targets to go around. It's just, Moore has higher touchdown upside for sure in that offense.
Yeah.
Definitely higher than Detroit, that's for sure. But yeah, St. Brown is the safer pick. But I like that his floor now seems like 13, 14 PPR points. I mean, he definitely could do higher.
All right, Tyler Foley with a super chat again. Tyler, appreciate it so much, but for less than what you just super chatted us, which we appreciate. You have a whole month of chats with us, one-on-one, every Sunday morning with all the latest news, so we can give you the most up-to-the-date
and extra perks, guys. After this, do another video with my updated rankings. So there's other things besides just the private show. So anyways,
if you're like, we don't want to talk to you guys Sunday morning, there's other stuff you get too. So it doesn't have to just be talking about stuff. All right. He has Derrick Henry, good for you. Leonard Fournette, also good for you. Cordero Patterson. Wow, are you just trying to make everybody jealous of your running backs? What's going on here? Fournette, other than this week, has been a hit or miss. Should I cut him or keep him? What? No, he's been great the last 3 weeks. Fournette. Okay, this is why I had Fournette on my trade video as a buy low, because Fournette, he's kind of been going under the radar, although now the Thursday night game, everybody saw him because he was on primetime. He's not under the radar anymore. But over the last 3 weeks, he's been pretty much the guy there. Like Ronald Jones barely involved. Gio, he gets a little bit of receptions, but even Fournette gets as many or more receptions. He's pretty much the guy there. And being the guy in Tampa Bay, that's tons of value. So no, do not cut Leonard Fournette, please. You have a great running back room right now. Do not cut Leonard Fournette.
I don't know why you would consider who would you pick up for him anyways?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't cut Leonard Fournette. He's a great rest of season running back, probably a top 20 to 15 running back, maybe even top 15 running back rest of season, honestly, because he's getting 60 to 70% of the work in an offense that scores, 20, 30 points every week. So no, don't cut him. All right. Heath Johnson, choose 2 receivers. DJ Moore. I mean, I'm almost always going to say yes to DJ Moore.
Yes. Michael
Pittman, Rondell Moore. Don't like Rondell Moore that much. CeeDee Lamb and Mike Williams. Well, let's assume Mike Williams is I'm just going to assume Mike Williams is out. Because even if he plays, I'm going to be very nervous playing him. Unless we hear something like, oh, he's 100% good to go, no issues at all. Like, if it's like, oh, yeah, he tested it in warmups and they think he's okay, I'm staying away. Staying away from that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if your other choice is CeeDee Lamb and DJ Moore, I mean, there's no need to even risk it. You might as well keep those guys in because I might pick them anyway. So
now my question is CeeDee or Michael Pittman?
That's basically what it comes down to. Look, you're not going to consider Mike Williams and Moore not over those guys. I like Pittman this week. I mean, obviously going against Houston, that's a great spot. It's tough to bench CeeDee Lamb, but the matchup is less favorable for him. Already talked about this a couple of times, that I think that game is going to be a little more low scoring. People think, Patriots, if nothing else, still have a decent defense. So I would reluctantly put Pittman in over Lamb and DJ Moore.
DJ Moore for sure. I think I go Pittman over Lamb too. I'm really worried about this. I'm not worried. The Dallas offense is great. I'm worried about the Dallas offense for fantasy, unless you have Zeke, because the defense has gotten better. So they're not having to throw as much. They're leaning on the run game more. They're spreading the ball around. So I'm a little nervous for this Dallas offense as far as I don't think it's going to be the fantasy goldmine for CD and Amari Cooper like we thought it was going to be this year. I remember the big argument was like Amari or CD, and it kind of was like, maybe neither. I mean, they've been okay. They haven't been bad. They've been okay, but they haven't been, second, third round players most of the games. So, yeah, I would go with Pittman. All right, John Zangaro has a trade question. We love trade questions. Should I trade Henderson, Robert Woods, and Marquise Brown for Nick Chubb, Chris Godwin, and Michael Thomas? Hopefully you're like 4-1 or 5-0 because you're taking on two guys who might not play for 3 more weeks if you do this deal.
Look, before Chubb was hurt, I would have said maybe, but right now, look, there's no way I can't trust Michael Thomas rest of season value. No matter when, even if you say he's coming back for sure next week, does that mean he's going to play 100% of the time every week going forward? And even if he does, you really think we're sure we're going to see the old Michael Thomas? And then if Nick Chubb is hurt now, I can't do that.
Yeah, and I mean, when I look at this trade, I look at Henderson for Chubb. I know people are going to say I'm crazy, but to me, that's pretty even. If it's PPR, if it's standard, I mean, Chubb. Come on, Daryl Henderson's been great this year. And Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb's been getting outscored every week by Kareem Hunt. And now he's, possibly on IR. I look at Robbie Wood. Okay, Chris Godwin, definitely an upgrade over Robert Woods. And Chris Godwin hasn't even been that. He was great in the first couple of weeks. He's been okay lately, but still upgrade over Robert Woods. But to me, Marquise Brown, unless Michael Thomas is, 2 years ago, Michael Thomas, Marquise Brown has been phenomenal. So I think you're giving up way too much here. So no, do not make that trade. Is what we're saying. All right, Durko04, thanks for the content and advice, guys. Keep up the grind. Appreciate it. We will. Cruising for a bruising. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, another trade, and Michael Pittman for CMC, Hubbard, Miles Sanders, and AJ Brown? The all buy. That is the all buy low team right there. CMC, Hubbard, Miles Sanders. Well, Miles Sanders might be a sell high right now. But when you combine them with CMC, you might as well just say CMC because you're either going to play CMC or Hubbard. You're never going to play them both.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, I mean, no way.
That's every guy you don't want to buy right now. CMC, we have no idea if he's really coming back in 3 weeks, and if so, what he's going to look like, what his workload's going to be. We were talking about this actually before we got on the show. I get that maybe there's a buying opportunity for McCaffrey, but it depends obviously on a lot of factors, especially what you're giving up. But then you're going to throw in Miles Sanders of zero interest in. This. I've said this way before we even got to draft season. I have zero interest in Miles Sanders this year. And sure enough, he's actually been worse than I even expected. I figured he'd be a bust. I didn't think it'd be this big a bust. And then AJ Brown, now hearing that he was going to, I don't remember exactly the wording, that he might be limited up through week 10, something like this.
Well, okay, here's the thing about that, though. He played on all but 2 of Ryan Tannehill's routes. So, yeah, he's probably not going to be out there when they run the ball, which seems crazy because teams will just know, oh, no, AJ Brown, they're running the ball. Just put 11, just rush 11 guys. But I do like AJ Brown going forward. I think this week's going to be a rough week for him because it's the Bills, but then he gets KC next week. So that's definitely a bounce back spot for him. But again, you're basically trading CMC, who we don't know when he's coming back, Miles Sanders, who's pretty much worthless right now. And that's not a knock on Miles Sanders. He's not getting the ball. He's just not getting the ball. And AJ Brown, who has not had a great start. So yeah, you're giving up way too much here. Way too.
Yeah. If you take on one guy who's an injury risk or a potential bounce back, that's fine. But if every single guy you're getting back has that much risk, it's just not worth it. You're just potentially burying yourself,
if you do make that trade, you are cruising for a bruising for sure. You make that trade.
That's a good point.
I feel like only old people like us know that saying, cruising for a bruising. All right, Tyler Foley again with another super chat. Really appreciate it. But again, Tyler, you join us every Sunday morning, have us all to yourselves for this price, for actually way less than what you've done now. But we really appreciate the super chat, so thank you. He's got Gronk, who's out, and he's got Knox. Knox is on bye next week. Who should I take for tight end next week if Gronk is still out? That's tough to say. I will say this. Obviously, we have to know who's on your waivers, and we don't. But I'll say this. If Dallas Goedert is on your waivers, grab Dallas Goedert because he's going to be the only tight end there, really. and Hurts has been throwing to tight ends a ton this year. So if somebody dropped Dallas Goedert because he wasn't doing anything, right? He was only catching like a few passes a game. That's a guy I would definitely be looking at going forward. I do think we'll see Gronk next week, but just in case, you might want to grab him if he's on waivers. But again, it comes down to who's on your waivers. So,
well, or Zach Ertz. The more likely Zach Ertz will be on waivers because nobody really had him before this week. Well, now he's going to Arizona, so that's a great spot to grab him if he's available. But also, if you're looking for next week, Ertz has a great matchup next week, but deeper, depending on most leagues, those guys maybe aren't available. Ricky Seals-Jones, I'm telling you, he's the guy. Logan Thomas, is out still. He's going to blow up this week. And then next week actually has a good matchup as far as versus tight ends. I think it's Green Bay. So Ricky Seals-Jones, this is the year.
If he's still on waivers, yeah, you should be grabbing him. Yeah. I'm sure in some leagues he is. Some shallower leagues he probably is. All right, Junior Alvarez, half point PPR, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Lockett, or Kadarius Toney, pick two.
Pick two? Well, I'm down on Lockett this week because I just don't think the connection is going to be there like it was with Russell Wilson, obviously. But it's not a bad matchup, but I don't know that I would bench him over those two guys. So I probably the risky one. The big question there is Kadarius Toney. Like, what are we getting from Kadarius Toney? We have no idea. I had a monster game, obviously, but Sterling Shepard's coming back. Darius Slayton's coming back. So I don't think he's going to get as many targets. I mean, he's a very, very risky play. I think that as hard as it may be, I think I would still keep Toney on the bench.
I wish it was full PPR. I mean, definitely Lockett. I think out of those three, you got to play. I know there's worry about Geno Smith, but yeah, he's such a good player. Meyer, if it was full PPR, I'd probably feel better about Myers, but half PPR, I mean,
well, he doesn't score touchdowns. That's a problem.
He definitely doesn't score touchdowns. He doesn't really rack up tons of yards. He just catches a bunch of passes. He's great in PPR, right? Because he catches 6, 7, 8 passes, gets you 70 to 80 yards, and you're like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Half PPR, you're losing out on 3, 4, 5 potential points. But yeah, Toney is super risky. If Shepard and Slayton were back, I would say Toney for sure. But with them back, especially Shepard, because they both play a ton out of the slot. So either Toney's going to have to move to the outside or Shepard's going to have to move to the outside. Maybe that'll happen.
The thing is, I'm looking, the matchup isn't everything, but it's very often that's the tiebreaker. Myers, a good matchup going against the Cowboys, going to have to pass it a ton. He's probably not going to get the majority of the attention from Diggs, who's also banged up.
Might not even play. Yeah,
Diggs might not even. He's hurt, so that definitely helps. And then, of course, the Rams. You're talking about one of the best pass defenses in the league. I'm not expecting a blow-up game from Toney just because he had one last week. Again, that was because they had no other receivers. So they're like, hey, let's see what the rookie can do. Well, now they got all their guys back, except for Galladay. But
yeah, I'd probably go Myers. Plus, Jalen Ramsey's probably going to talk so much to Kadarius Toney, he'll get himself kicked out again. So yeah,
exactly. Jalen Ramsey, Kadarius Toney, you can just see the pregame with those two guys.
Yeah, it's gonna. They're probably both gonna get ejected before the game. Andre Aravalo asked basically Lockett or Toney and half PPR, and we both say Lockett easily there, right? We just basically answered that question. Ed Wagner, any chance Cam Newton catches on with the team and will be fantasy relevant? I think he could catch on with the team. Will he be fantasy relevant? That I'm not sure.
If he was going to catch on with the team, he would have by now. I think for this season, no, there's a reason he didn't get any interest in the offseason either, right? Patriots brought him back just for a 1-year deal. And after a couple of weeks, they were done with him, right? In the preseason, seeing him. And it's not because he did so terrible, but it's like, look, this guy doesn't bring anything to the table more so than our rookie. So I think at this point, we have to just assume, even though he may not think he's done, I think front offices think he's done. So I'm not holding out any hope.
Yeah, no hope in fantasy, that's for sure. All right, Phil Cantor, Waddle or Tim Patrick?
I mean, I wanted to say Waddle, but I wanted to say Waddle last week. I think I did say Waddle last week. We both did and didn't turn out. There's
Miles Gaskin show apparently last week.
Well, the Miles Gaskin is going to be the Miles Gaskin. No, but this week we got to remember though, Tua coming back, that should help Waddle because obviously we saw a little bit of connection from them in the 2 games that Tua played before he got hurt. You don't have Devontae Parker still. You don't have Will Fuller. So I think there's still hope for Waddle, especially going against the Jaguars. That's a great matchup, obviously. So, I think I'm going to go with Waddle because Patrick's fine. He's still in the same spot he's been in. He's been solid, but he's not a guy who has a super high ceiling. The Raiders, who knows how they'll respond this weekend, but if nothing else, their secondary has been solid. They're not giving up, for the most part, tons of receiving yards.
Yeah. Vegas not as good of a matchup as you would think. I definitely go Waddle there. And I think Tua coming back definitely helps. All right, Durko04, half PPR. Here's a couple of running backs you don't want to have to start, but I get it because I'm in this position in a couple leagues too. Ramondre Stevenson or Sonny Michel. This is like there's no right answer here. Like basically you're hoping one of these guys falls in the end zone.
There's definitely a right answer for me. It's not Ramondre Stevenson. There's no. I mean, if Damien Harris wasn't playing, okay, fine. But okay, let's leave it at that. Like Damien Harris, I think is questionable. If he has a setback, if he doesn't play, or they say he's going to be very limited, then you can roll out Stevenson. But otherwise, if Harris plays, not Stevenson.
Yeah, exactly. It comes down to Harris. It comes down if you wake up tomorrow morning and you hear that Damien Harris is out, then I think Stevenson is okay, an okay play. He'll get some points. He'll get some carries. He'll do something. But otherwise, yeah, you can't play. All right, Kyle Haddad. Who should I start in my? We did this when we super chatted that one. Thank you. I was like, wait, we did that one. Fresh Prince, 1986.
Right, our era. Well, the Fresh Prince. I think their first album came out maybe in 86, 87.
I was gonna
the
say
show didn't come out till like the early 90s.
Yeah, the show was like in the 90s, but they'd already had a couple albums out, I think. All right. No one knows. Hardly anybody knows what we're talking about right now.
No, nobody has any idea. Look, you know what's funny? I asked my daughter, Will Smith, and I was like, "Oh, did you know Will Smith used to be a rapper?" She's like, "What?
Yeah,
Will Smith?" I said, "Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Fresh Prince?" She's like, "The what?" Like, oh my god. Okay, I had to walk away. She had no idea.
That's how you
know. He was the actor.
Yeah, that's how you know you're getting old for sure. All right, half PPR, Tony or Julio?
Half PPR. Was it Tony or Julio?
Yeah.
Oh, Julio. What do we do with Julio? He's gonna play.
Yes. That's the positive. He's gonna play.
I mean, again, if you want to play it, which sounds silly, but you want to play it safer, you go with Julio because we don't know what we're getting with Tony. Tony was kind of banged up, last week. At one point, we thought he might miss. He's still got a questionable tag on him. And, just telling you don't feel great about Tony in this matchup. So, I mean, how good can we feel about Julio? Not too great, but I do think at the very least we can say Tennessee's probably going to have to pass the ball a lot this week. So I would go with Julio.
Yeah, and I would go with Julio. Don't love it. Don't love either. But if you did see, last week we saw McCall Hardman have one of his best games because the Bills took away Tyreek Hill. So if the Bills do that to A.J. Brown, that'll be good for Julio. Of course, Julio could go out there for like 4 snaps and never be seen again. But, that's how it goes with Julio. Good luck.
It could happen with Tony, too. We don't know he's going to get
That's true. He could throw a punch on the first play or warm-ups and never be seen again. I don't know.
We just said that Tony, I would love if that happened because Kadarius Toney and Jalen Ramsey, to me, both those guys getting ejected would be a dream scenario because I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, sadly. So to see an ex-Gator and an ex-Seminole both getting tossed for fighting, that's like, it's just perfection. Really. Okay.
All right. Haz Idris, again, apologies if I mispronounced your name. I'm sure I did. Doing my best. Flex Alex Collins or AJ Dillon in full PPR?
That's an interesting question because we know Collins is a starter and Dillon is not. I'm down on Collins. I think he's going to bust this week because going against Pittsburgh, if I recall, has not allowed a rushing touchdown to a running back this year yet. Obviously at Pittsburgh, tough scenario. Geno Smith is the quarterback. No Carson. Obviously Collins is going to be getting the touches, but it's not a good setup for him. AJ Dillon, how many touches is he really going to get? He got a fair amount of touches last week, and I think going against Chicago, we could see more touches than we expect. I kind of like Dillon.
Man, this is a tough one for me. I mean, we know Alex Collins is going to get way more work than AJ Dillon, but like you said, it's against the Steelers, Geno Smith. How bad is this offense going to look? We don't know. The Steelers not very good against the pass, so maybe they'll just throw the ball, or maybe the second half they'll be down. I mean, this is Steelers. The Steelers aren't probably going to be up like 30-0 at halftime, but I know AJ Dillon got some touches last week, but he played the same amount of snaps he's played all season. Like, it's not like he suddenly cut into Aaron Jones's snaps, or it was like a game where he just got touches.
But that's happened 2 weeks in a row. That's the thing. 2 weeks in a row, his touch share has kind of gone up a little bit.
I mean, I guess AJ Dillon, at least he's tied to a better offense, and he, like we saw last week, he can always find the end zone. Alex Collins against that Steelers defense is worrisome. Roberto, hey guys, what's up, Roberto? Hopefully we will see you tomorrow morning on our chat. You weren't there last week. Hopefully you're there tomorrow. Be there. All right, Tesla. Is this Elon Musk's burner account? I don't know. Who y'all flexing? AJ Dillon or Demetric? How do you pronounce his first? Felton. Demetric?
Ooh, Felton. Demetric, I think.
I think it's Demetric, right? Demetric. I got to learn it now because now I might have to talk about him this week. I don't know. So I better learn his name.
And I randomly threw Felton reference out a couple of weeks ago. It's because I think it was the game where Landry first was out. And on the very first drive, they threw the ball to Felton like 3 times. Yeah. And then after that, we didn't see him again. Like he just disappeared. So I said, oh, well, Felton's a good, dynasty stash, somebody to kind of pick up. Well, lo and behold, Nick Chubb now hurt, maybe on IR. Felton's going to get some touches. So do I feel good enough to start him? No, like I don't mind picking up and stashing him somewhere, but I'm not trusting that he's going to get a bunch of touches this week. So he is going to get more involved, especially now. He has to get more involved. So I like him as a waiver wire pickup, but you can't start him.
Well, my thing with Felton is he's been basically running as like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think that changes. I don't think he's going to maybe he'll get like a few carries now, but I think we're just going to see more Ernest Johnson like we did last year when Nick Chubb went out. I think he'll be more the other primary ball carrier with Kareem Hunt. So I think Felton's role will still be Felton's role, which is 2 to 3 targets, and that's about it. So yeah, I agree. Like worth a stash just in case, but not starting. I
think Felton could be kind of like a poor man's Tariq Cohen. He's not going to get that much run, but he's that type of guy. He can take one play to the house. He's got that explosiveness and he's got the pass catching ability more so than running ability. But again, that's, somewhat of a high ceiling, but also a floor of almost nothing. So,
yeah. All right. Jared King, bench one in standard scoring. I'm not benching Kareem Hunt. I'm not benching Zeke. I'm not benching Najee, so I guess I'm benching James Robinson. Wow. But I'm benching James Robinson out of that group. As hard as it is, I'm benching him.
I mean, like you just mentioned 4 guys I have in like my top 10 running back for this week. So congrats to you for having them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Zeke higher. The only thing you could say, well, maybe Zeke is questionable with a rib thing going into this week, but he's expected to play. So I don't think there's any issue there.
No, I'm not worried about it, I don't think.
Kareem Hunt, you have to play unless he has a setback. And of course, Najee Harris, I have him as the top 3 running back this week. So I guess you're benching James Robinson. You can't trade one of them for something.
I know, right? Actually, in standard scoring, I'd probably just keep all 4 because.
Well, that's true with all these injuries.
And not only that, when the bye weeks hit and you just get to roll out 3 of those running backs and everybody else is like scrambling, you're just going to roll people. No problem. So good job. All right, Haas Idris, super flex or a super chat, not a super flex. Super chat, appreciate it. Again, as we've been saying, for the price you just super chatted, you can have a whole month of these with us, plus other cool stuff. So check that out. Description the link is in the description below. Don't say that 3 times fast. All right, Seals Jones for the flex. Seals Jones,
yes.
Rashad Bateman, Mecole Hardman, or Mooney.
Oh.
I mean, I'm going to definitely eliminate Bateman. I like Bateman
Yeah.
potentially down the road, but first game back, no, definitely not starting Bateman.
We don't know how many snaps he's going to play. I wouldn't count on. Yeah. So you can't start Bateman. It's just too risky. Like I like Seals Jones. I know I've been saying this, but I like him at tight end. I don't like him over a receiver as a flex play. So I do like, believe it or not, maybe for the first time ever, I'll endorse Hardman this week. I do like Hardman. I think Mooney is actually an interesting play because Allen Robinson's banged up with an ankle injury. I don't know if we even mentioned them at the top. He's listed as questionable, but he's probably going to play, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything where he's like shouldn't play or shouldn't be fine. That's why I didn't put him in there. My worry with Mooney and Allen Robinson, the Bears are only since Justin Fields became the starter, they are the run heaviest team. In fact, I think they're one of the run heaviest teams in like the last 20 years. Like not just this year, like in the last 20 years of the NFL, they're running at a ridiculously high rate, which is great for Khalil Herbert this week and Damien Williams when he comes back and David Montgomery when he comes back. But it's not great for Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney. So I'm kind of with you. I think I'd roll with Hardman. I mean, I don't expect Hardman to get all the targets he got last week because the football team's not going to be able to stop Tyreek Hill. He's gonna dominate, but there's going to be chances for everybody in this offense this week because it's going to be an absolute shootout in the football team. The only team worse than the football team as far as how often they give up scoring drives is the Chiefs. So we're talking about the two worst defenses in the NFL going at it this week with an awesome Chiefs offense. I'll take my chances with Hardman.
Yeah, I think Hardman. Mooney's interesting. A lot of this depends on injury. Look, if Allen Robinson gets scratched before the game, I would put Mooney in. But if not, then yeah, I'd stick with Hardman. Look, for a while we thought Tyreek Hill might not play, and then all of a sudden on Friday he showed up and he was fine, supposedly. So, but still, Hardman got a lot of chances last week. He could easily, shred that defense too.
Yeah. All right, another super chat again. RJ Primary, appreciate it. Sounding like a broken record here, but honestly, we want you guys to get maximum value. We appreciate the. I mean, if you want to come in here and give us $5 for every week, we'll gladly take it. But you could also just give us $5 for the whole month and get more and get this every week. So we do appreciate it. Just letting you guys know if you want to like save money and get the same, actually get us even more than you're getting us right now. Check that out in the description. But he's got to pick two between DK, Keenan Allen, Chase Claypool, Marquise Brown, and Cortland Sutton. Wow. Well, I can easily eliminate Sutton out of that group.
And that's another stacked receiving core there. You only can pick two?
Only two, he says. I'm going to say right off the bat, to me, especially with Mike Williams likely not playing, Keenan is a must this week.
Yeah, I think Mike Williams' situation definitely makes Keenan look. He's usually a solid, no-brainer, but of course, most of those guys are. I love Claypool's chances this week. I'm not going to start him over DK, and to me, DK is a must-start too.
Yeah, I think you got to go DK. And I mean, it's hard to bench Marquise Brown too, but I think you do. I think you do got to go DK and Keenan. Yeah. You might have a lot of points on your bench, man. So hopefully DK and Keenan go off because all four of those guys could have huge games this week, honestly. All right, Raul Cabral. Again, apologies if I mispronounce your name. Oh, wait, what happened? Let me just scroll down. I hate how it does this. All right, guys. Okay. I think he meant half PPR. He put 12 PPR, but I'm assuming he meant half. Unless you get 12 points per reception, that'd be pretty crazy. Robbie Anderson or Hunter Renfrow?
Oh, man. We can pretty much eliminate Robbie Anderson at this point. He's been a non-factor for 5 straight weeks, even with CMC out. Yeah, there's no reason to think that's going to change. And Renfrow, at least you know what you're getting, which is going to be about 5 or 6 catches. So gotta be Renfrow. Yeah,
and then start Jared Cook or Parham. I think so. The two Chargers tight ends. Yeah, Cook is. I think we may see as the season goes on, Parham start to close the gap and maybe even pass him, kind of like a Cole Kmet. Not that Parham's a rookie, but kind of like Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham last year. But for right now, Jared Cook's the tight end there. Definitely play him.
Yeah, and that's actually a good matchup this week for tight ends because Baltimore in general has a good defense, but allowing the third most fantasy points to tight ends so far. So I would be glad to start Cook this week.
And especially with Williams out.
Especially if Williams is out, yeah.
All right, Stroh tonight. Gents, tough times indeed. Needs 2 in PPR. These are definitely tough times. Gaskin, Damien Harris, Khalil Herbert, Melvin Gordon, or Jamal Williams?
I think we can scratch Damien Harris off of that list.
I'm going to say right off the bat, you got to play Herbert this week.
Herbert looks like he's going to get all the touches. And like you were saying, Chicago was running the ball like crazy, and Herbert looks pretty good. So, I'd say I like Herbert and Gaskin probably the best. Yeah,
out of those two, Herbert and Gaskin, definitely. Don't. I feel great about Herbert. The other one's like, but I definitely feel best about Gaskin there. All right, GOAT asking, who should I get as a running back from the waiver wire since CMC is out? I mean, good luck. Good luck. Unless you're in like an 8-man or 10-man league, or even a 10-man, even my 10-man league, there's not a lot on there. Running back. It's not like running backs, are super deep. I mean, you can look to see if maybe Alex Collins got dropped, because people thought Chris Carson would come back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Khalil Herbert's still on the waivers because people are sleeping.
Maybe Herbert.
There's not a lot. Maybe Dearness Johnson if you're super desperate, but there's not a lot. Not going to be a lot.
By the way, guys, good time to mention our Discord. If you have general questions you want to throw out to the group and you want to get into more detail that we don't have time for here, join the Discord. And again, we have channels for Start Sit, Waiver Wire, Trades, Dynasty, everything, basically anything related to fantasy football. A lot of smart people in there, not just us. So you'll get an answer almost immediately from somebody. And then you can kind of get that group think going on, because of course we don't always agree on things, but you can hash it out and talk as much as you want in there. It's free. So just join the Discord. It's another way that we can kind of keep everybody involved in the endgame community.
That's right. So it's all about this community, and that is also down in the description below. And that was free. So no excuse, honestly, no excuse not to be in there. It's an awesome place. All right. Enlo has a trade question in half PPR. Latavius Murray for Waddle. If you're getting Waddle, I would 100% do that.
Do it. Murray's the guy in Baltimore. That doesn't mean too much when Lamar Jackson's still really the guy. And Murray has really not looked good. I don't know why. It's still kind of puzzling why they've kind of faded Tyson Williams and put him, inactive when he was averaging like 6 yards a carry, and Murray's out there churning like 3 yards a carry. He's been one of the least effective running backs in the league, and he's just like been handed the RB1 role. It's kind of confusing, but no.
I can only think that Tyson Williams must just really struggle with blocking and things like that they want him to do. And they're just like, yeah, you're better with the ball in your hands, but you're terrible at everything else. So we can't have you on the field, because it really doesn't make any, that's the only explanation, honestly. Because, all right, Ale, what's up, Ale? Good to see you. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamal Williams in full PPR? And actually, hold on, before I answer this, I think we're playing each other in the endgame private league. So I don't know if I want to give him the right answer here.
I'd say you want to drop both those guys right now and pick up Josh Gordon and play him.
Just take a 0. No, I think you have to play, and this is, even though it's going to go against me and probably cause me to lose, I think you have to play St. Brown. Just
St. Brown.
You got to play St. Brown. Too worried about Jamal Williams, even if he plays. I think you got to play St. Brown.
Yep.
All right. Zolbu Munkabire. I know I butchered that. Apologies. Chase Edmonds or Kareem Hunt for flex PPR. I mean, that's a no-brainer, Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt for sure.
All right, here we go. This is an interesting one, and I think we might disagree on this. Alpha 1102, another trade question. I like all these trade questions. Should I trade Aaron Jones for Daryl Henderson and Antonio Brown?
Ooh, now that's with trade questions, it always kind of depends. I mean, you're getting 2 for 1, right? So do you need a receiver? I mean, I think you're getting better value with those 2 players. It's tough to trade a guy who's, a top 10 running back, especially one who's not hurt these days. So it's really tough to give up, Aaron Jones. You're trading away an RB1 to get an RB2. But man, Antonio Brown, the way he's looking, I actually am going to do what you probably didn't expect me to do. I would say take on Henderson and Brown.
I mean, okay, look, I know you love Cam Akers. I know you will forever dislike Daryl Henderson because he kind of got the role that Cam Akers should have had. But Cam Akers has missed a game and only has 20 less points than Aaron Jones this year. Like, I don't know if calling Daryl Henderson RB2 is fair. I think he's the low-end RB1. And I think Aaron Jones is like a borderline 8 to 10-ish running back. He's not a top 5 guy this year. I think A.J. Dillon's eaten into his usage just enough to keep him out of that top 5. So, yes, it's a downgrade from Aaron Jones to Daryl Henderson, but I don't think it's a huge downgrade. And AB has been awesome. And, yeah, I think – I mean, if you're not going to play Antonio Brown, like if you're stacked at wide receiver and you're not going to play Antonio Brown, then no, don't make this deal because Aaron Jones is better than Daryl Henderson. But if you need a wide receiver, you're not getting a huge downgrade at running back, and you're getting a very nice, high upside wide receiver 3, maybe even wide receiver 2 right now. So I like that deal.
If you don't need to start Antonio Brown, you don't make the deal because you're not getting an upgrade anywhere, right? Because I mean, what's the point of that then? So yeah, I'm assuming you do, but yeah, I would say do the deal.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I say do the deal. All right, and this is why, by the way, guys, I got comments on my trade thing, like, oh, Daryl Henderson is not a buy low. No, he actually is. People still think he's really bad. The guy's missed a game, and he's like RB15, and he's missed a game. Like, he's actually been really good in fantasy. Anyway, Foster Broad, start 3 in PPR. Gibson, Pittman, Higgins, A.J. Brown. Well, I'm going to say not A.J. Brown. Shockingly, I'm going to say A.J. Brown.
Not over those guys. No, he's obviously not 100%. It's not a great matchup at all. So, yeah, I think you got to say Brown.
Yeah. And then can I start Wentz over Dak given match? I mean, I'm not going to do that.
I wouldn't do that, no. Like, I know the Patriots are good in the secondary, but they did just give up 300 yards to Davis Mills. So, I don't think you should be too worried.
Yeah, they're really not that good in the secondary, honestly. This isn't like back when they had like Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore on either side. And they don't have the guys anymore.
Right.
All right.
Also, you have to look. Sorry, I'm going to say too with Wentz, like, though they're going against Houston, they probably won't have to pass the ball a whole lot. It's a Jonathan Taylor week. So I'm not predicting a huge week for Wentz just because he's playing Houston.
Yeah. All right. OG Paul, what's up? I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom.
Yes. There you go.
That was funny yesterday. Who do you hate less this week? All right. I like it. A hate question. It's hate. Derek Carr or Jared Goff? Who do you hate less?
Well praised.
Definitely well praised.
I mean, look, it's hard to predict what the Raiders are going to come out and do. You think it's probably going to be mostly the same game plan. But again, Carr has been slipping the last 2 weeks. Not going against Denver, it's not a good setup for him, right? It's not a week that you want to roll out Carr. Do you ever want to roll out Goff? No. But in this case, going against Cincinnati, that's slightly better. So I'm kind of thinking I would go with Goff.
Oof. I can't play Jared Goff ever. Okay, Denver has been good against quarterbacks. In fact, Denver and the Raiders are the only two defenses who have not allowed a top 12 finish for a QB this year. But neither of these guys are going to finish top 12 this week, so it doesn't matter. Like, Jared Goff's not finishing top 12. The other thing about Cincinnati, they play really slow. Really slow. So it's not like Jared Goff's going to throw the ball 35, 40 times. Probably not. I mean, yeah, you phrased this perfectly. Who do you hate less? I think I hate Derek Carr slightly less, but I don't really like either. That's the thing. I'd rather just like another option.
In reality, there's not probably gonna be a lot that separates these two statistically. Yeah. So it probably doesn't matter too much. So I hate Goff slightly less. He hates Carr slightly less. Taylor Heineke's on waivers. Maybe pick him up instead.
Exactly. If Heineke is still on waivers, grab him. Love him this week. All right, we got a super chat from Son AAA. He needs they need 2 wide receivers between Claypool, A.J. Brown, and Hollywood.
Believe it or not, I'll bench A.J. Brown.
Yeah, for those two. Hollywood Brown's pretty much like almost a must start unless you had that other question where the guy had like DK, he had like ridiculous receivers. And you got to love Claypool this week with no Juju against Seattle. That's Seattle. Defense.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. All right, Michael Dobbs. I am a CMC owner. I know the pain. Who do I try to trade for and when? I mean,
well, are you asking like who's like a buy low for a running back kind of?
Like, here's what if I had CMC in season long, I would be going to one of the top teams. Assuming if I was like 5-0 or 4-1, I'd probably just hold him. Hope he comes back in a few weeks and I get full go CMC for the rest of the season. But if I was like 2-3 or 3-2 or 1-4 and like really needed to win, I would be looking at the top teams in my league, like the 5-0, the 4-1 teams, and looking to see maybe they have like, because if they're 5-0 and 4-1, they probably have a really good team. They probably have a lot of really good players. They might be willing to take CMC, stash him on their bench or on their IR, and give you a really good running back or wide receiver in return, in hopes that if he comes back, their team is unbeatable. So that's, I think, what you have to be doing with CMC right now.
Yeah. If you're asking because you need somebody in the short term for the next 3-4 weeks to get you by, you're going to look for somebody who's not going to command obviously a huge asking price. Somebody that's not high valued, you're not going to get a top 10 running back in exchange unless you're willing to give up CMC or somebody else. And that's not helping you, right? Is that really helping your team if you're giving up like a high end wide receiver for a running back? Like if you already have 3 stud receivers and you'd rather do that, okay, fine, then do that. Trade DK Metcalf or Aaron Jones, something like that. Like that's fine. But if you're just looking for a running back to get you by somebody, I would say you can target a guy like Zach Moss, who's probably not going to have a huge asking price, and he's been solid. You can go for like Javonte Williams. If he's somebody's third running back, get him now. He's just going to go up in value and he's still not really excelling. So he'll, probably not command too much. Or you can go on that cheap and try to get Tony Pollard, who's actually been kind of a solid, quiet top 20 running back, believe it or not, with a lot of, upside. So somebody like that. Don't buy low on Miles Sanders. That's not going to help you. So don't trade for Khalil Herbert or Damien Williams, because again, by the playoff time, they're going to be on your bench. So
yeah. All right, Spend One FR Vila, what's up? Good to see you. He was here pretty much all last season, so good to see you.
Yep.
Alex Collins, Khalil Herbert, or Julio Jones, full PPR. I'm gonna say for me, it's easily Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, Julio, and full PPR. Could be interesting, but we know what we're going to get with Herbert. That's a full workload of touches. So yeah, you got to go with that.
And then he says, I've had Julio Jones give you some bad weeks. Some bad weeks, he's giving you one good week.
Yeah. He's giving you 2 non-weeks, and then he's giving you 2 bad weeks, and then he had 1 good week. So yeah.
Julia Artis, apologies, mispronounced that. T.Y. Hilton's playing tomorrow. Yes. Will he play the whole game, or will he be? I'm going to say he's probably going to be on a snap count. That's what I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you don't want to trust. Again, this isn't, a young player come back. This is a veteran guy who's had injuries, not just this year, but also last year. I mean, I don't see any reason. It's not like a huge divisional game, even though it's a divisional game. It's not a huge game. It's a game that they should win. I don't see why they're going to need to stretch Hilton out. So I can't imagine he gets a full workload and a lot of touches. Yeah, sure, he could run deep and, catch a bomb, but it's not like we've seen, well, here's the other thing. Does he have any chemistry with his quarterback this year? No. So I'm not expecting much.
No. All right, Christian Pena. Who should I pick for my flex and RB2 between Booker? Okay, it's Swift and Mixon, but I'll give you the choices. Booker, Swift, Mixon, Evans.
Yeah. Wait,
Swift,
Evans?
Swift.
Like Chris Evans?
No, Edmonds.
Edmonds. I was like, because Mike
Evans
Evans
right. It's Swift and Mixon. It's
Swift and Mixon for sure.
Swift and Mixon. Big Lenny, AB or Claypool. This one's for Chris. Well, you got to play AB. He's already got 24 points. Come on, you take the guaranteed 24. Put him in your lineup. Let's go. Easy. All right, Will M. Who should I start, Moss or Daryl Williams?
I'm going with Moss. Look, I know you can say the touches aren't going to be that high. Look, how many touches is Daryl Williams going to get in that backfield? You're hoping for a touchdown. Zach Moss is getting touchdowns and he's on just as good, maybe arguably a better offense. Buffalo's offense has been better than Kansas City. I think that's actually hard to argue since they outscored them last week when they played. So to me, it's easily Moss.
I'm not going to say easily Moss. I think these guys are really close because, again, I do think that KC Washington game is going to be just insanely high scoring. So it definitely gives Daryl Williams touchdown chances. But we've seen Moss kind of take over that backfield. So to me, I'm okay with either. Like Moss to me is definitely safer. They both have, I think, similar ceilings, but Moss is definitely safer. So I'd probably go Moss in that position. All right, and then another Daryl Williams question: Daryl Williams or Chuba?
This is easily Chuba. Yeah. I've never been high on Clyde Edwards-Helaire because not of the talent of the player necessarily, although I do think he was a little overvalued because of his situation in college. But the running backs just aren't as valuable as we want them to be in Kansas City. Daryl Williams is the number 2 guy there. He's starting because of an injury. He's only going to get you so far. Chuba, we saw what he did last week. He's the guy there. Clearly, he's just going to get more work because now they know they really depend on him. They need him, right? They need him for the short term.
Yeah, Chuba, definitely. Anton Montes, Kadarius Toney or Laviska Shenault in half-point PPR?
Oh, man. Oh, Laviska Shenault.
I'm just going to tell you guys right now, my answer to Laviska Shenault is never Laviska Shenault. Never. Done.
Yeah.
Done. Last week was the week. No Chark. Ran more routes on the outside than he has all year. He didn't have the Chark roll, but he had like more of the Chark roll than he had when Chark was healthy. Going against Tennessee, and he got the ball 3 times. And if it wasn't for his incredible yard after catch ability, his day would have been even more horrendous than it already was. I just can't. I can't. Maybe he'll prove me wrong this week and he'll go off again, and then everybody will start him next week and he'll be terrible. No, it's always no to Shenault for me. So I don't even care if it's Toney. I'm saying no to Shenault. I'll play Toney.
I don't care who it is. If it was like John Ross.
It's
John
no
Ross.
to Shenault for me because it's so
man.
So
okay. Fool me once, right? Shame on you can't get fooled again. So if you get fooled again on Shenault, I might, just because it's such a good spot. Look, the Dolphins don't have Xavier Howard. The Dolphins suck in the secondary this year for whatever reason. The problem is not Shenault. The problem is Urban Meyer, which we know. Look, let me just say this. Even though you probably shouldn't be starting Shenault this week, if I'm a team that's 4-1 or 5-0, if I'm up in the standings and I have good depth, I'm gonna throw a buy low offer on Shenault, because when Urban Meyer gets fired or resigns because of something else before the second half of the season, then all of a sudden the Jaguars passing game might be good and Shenault actually can get targeted and be good. So I don't mind him as a kind of a sneaky buy low as to stash on your bench, because I am predicting Urban Meyer doesn't make it through the season. But anyways, everything points to the fact Shenault should have a huge week, but they also did that last week. And so you probably shouldn't start him, but I will.
And you don't have to actually go try to buy low on Laviska Shenault. He'll be on waiver wires here in a week or two. And then you can just get him for free.
That's true.
If you really want to stash him. Because I do agree, there's no way Urban Meyer, there's the only reason Urban Meyer is still going is because the owner there, if you fired him already, it's basically saying that was a horrendous hire. So you got to stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. S. Wiggs flex Emmanuel Sanders, Robert Woods, or Gaskin in half PPR.
Between those, I would say not Gaskin, right? I'd rather start the other two. It's kind of hard to bench Sanders the way he's been going. Normally I would say Woods, though. What are we going to get? Are we going to get last week's Woods, or are we going to get the one from before? I think the squeaky wheel has kind of been, addressed.
Yeah.
I know you're probably leaning. I don't know. I'm tempted to say Woods, honestly. I know you're probably leaning Sanders.
No, I'd probably go Woods here, because even those first, 4 weeks when people were saying Woods was really bad, he still got you 12, 12, 9, and 14. He wasn't getting you nothing. That's just not what we were hoping for with Robert Woods. Emmanuel Sanders had 2 touchdowns last week, which is great, but he only had 3 catches. Not like Emmanuel Sanders is getting, force-fed targets. And Diggs is going to pop off at some point. Diggs is getting almost the exact same usage and opportunity he got last year. It's just not happening yet. That's it. It's just not happening. He's going to pop off at some point. And this could be the week. This could be the week for sure against Tennessee. They have nobody in that secondary, which is why Laviska Shenault is now dead to me in fantasy because he couldn't even go off against that secondary. But anyways, let's move on. First name, last name. Very creative there. Should I start Jamar Chase or Deontay Johnson? That's an interesting one.
Man, I mean, as good as Jamar Chase has been, I can't bench Deontay Johnson against Seattle.
No, especially with Juju out. I mean, this is now going to be a two-man wide receiver group with James Washington there a little bit, but it's mostly just going to be Deontay and Claypool. And yeah, I can't bench Deontay Johnson. No way. Joel Hewitt, what's Tyreek's status for? I'm pretty sure he's fine. He practiced on Friday. I think he should be good to go. Nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, what I read is that, he missed practice, quad injury, and then Friday he looked like back to normal. So
yeah,
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, as long as they practice on Friday, they're usually fine.
Yeah.
All right, Simon Tedros. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. Who do I start at flex? Tim Patrick, Odell, or Melvin Gordon?
I mean, Odell's not dead to me, but he's, kind of on life support at this point. Yeah. So I don't think I'd start him over even Tim Patrick. I had Patrick over him. Gordon, it's okay, but we've seen you're not getting a whole lot unless you really think the Raiders are just going to kind of roll over in this game, which is possible, but still, I'm not too excited. I mean, you got a Bronco either way, so they're going to have more success on the ground. I think I'd lean Patrick. You said full PPR, right?
I didn't specify, so we'll assume full PPR. And I'm with you. I lean Tim Patrick there.
If it's standard, maybe Gordon, but probably if it's half or full PPR, I'd go Patrick.
Yeah. All right, Jason Bird, half PPR, lots of injuries. Stevenson or McKissick?
McKissick.
Yeah, honestly, I can see McKissick having a decent game. I mean, if the football team falls behind by 3 scores, which is possible, he might be used a lot. So I would take my chances with him.
So if Terry doesn't play or is limited, we could see a lot more targets to McKissick.
All right, Andrea Stylzowski. Apologies, I know I butchered that. J.D. McKissick or A.J. Dillon in half PPR? I did not expect this many McKissick and Dillon questions.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Dillon's kind of coming on, and I know you say, well, he scored a touchdown. Without that, it's not a ton of yardage, but he's slowly kind of creeping up, and the snaps are going up, and then the touches are going up. If you think that Green Bay is going to have a, fairly easy time against Chicago, which is entirely possible, A.J. Dillon gets some touches and, kind of eases the load there for Aaron Jones. So I don't hate Dillon as an RB3 this week. McKissick is just so risky. I mean, he could get a ton of targets, but he really hasn't. He just hasn't done much lately. So I'd probably lean Dillon.
Yeah, especially with it being half PPR, that kind of hurts McKissick a little bit. I'd roll Dillon as well. Triple Trey, Rondell, pick 2, Rondell Moore, Kadarius Toney. A lot of Kadarius Toney and St. Brown. A lot of St. Brown this week.
Pick 2, is that what you said?
Yes. Okay,
so I like St. Brown. I'd say Rondell Moore. I'm still just very, very wary of Toney.
Yeah, I agree. I think in that case you can definitely bench Toney. All right, Daguers, 12-team half PPR, pick 2 for the flex. Pollard, not Shenault, St. Brown, Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry could have a good week. He's taken over as a tight end 1 going against Dallas. But am I flexing a tight end over somebody else? Probably not. Okay, give him to me again.
Pollard, never Shenault, St. Brown.
Okay, St. Brown.
And it's half PPR, so I definitely like Pollard. I
Yeah.
think he'll get a lot of run this week, so I definitely like Pollard.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick Shenault over any of those guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, Pollard and St. Brown. All right, Mike Wright. What's up? I always think, is this Mike Wright from the Fantasy Footballers?
Man.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, pick 2 in PPR. Gaskin, Knox, or Marvin Jones. I mean, are one of these. If one of these guys has to be your tight end, it should be Knox. As much as I like Gaskin, it should be Knox.
Yeah. Gasicki's still limited upside compared to Knox. I mean, he's going off. At some point, he'll stop scoring touchdowns, but not yet. So I like Knox. And then the Marvin Jones, man.
Between Marvin Jones or Gaskin?
I mean, between those two, I'd rather have Marvin Jones, but I think I might actually like Knox better than Marvin Jones this week.
Yeah, well, it's picking 2, so I think it's Knox and Marvin Jones.
Yeah, so you can pick those two.
All right, El Pablo, evening guys. Higbee or Seals Jones?
You know what? I'm going Seals Jones because Higbee, I mean, he's competing with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. You know, they have a good running game. Are they going to need to pass it a ton against the Giants? Guessing not. So Higbee's fine, but he's just so up and down. I'm really feeling RSJ this week.
Yeah, I love Seals Jones this week. And then Sutton or Lockett?
I'd go Sutton.
Oof. You know, I want to say Sutton, but actually, Raiders, Casey Hayward has been playing really, really good. I'm a little nervous about Sutton, but I'm obviously nervous about Lockett too with Geno. I mean, I guess Sutton.
It's tough to say. Look, Lockett's always kind of unpredictable based on game flow. I guess the way I'm seeing is I really think without Russ there, we're going to see a lot more DK Metcalf target share than Lockett. Lockett is a guy who's always benefited from that deep ball with Russ, that connection that they have. If that's taken away, that, you know, we're looking at a lot of slants, a lot of short passes. He might get, you know, a fair amount of receptions. I think the ceiling really drops for him. So, you know, I'm not feeling Lockett too much, even though the matchup, you know, you think they would be passing a lot against the Steelers, and the Steelers haven't been great in the secondary, but I'm just a little worried about Lockett this week. I could be wrong.
I mean, I'm worried about both of them this week, to be honest. So, no. All right, Ronnie Santana. Hello there. I have a problem. I don't have a running back 2. Welcome to the club. Yeah. CEH and Carson are on IR. Chris Evans, Sonny Michel, Nyheim Hines, and Carlos Hyde are available. Who should I get?
I mean, before the season, I'd say Hines is a no-brainer, but he is not getting any touches, and they're, I think, showcasing Marlon Mack to try to trade him. It seems like, because he asked for a trade, and now they're saying teams are interested. The Chiefs might want him, and they're giving him carries. So it can't be Hines. It definitely is not going to be Hyde because, you know, Jaguars. I'd say Michelle out of that group.
Yeah, I'd probably grab Michelle. I don't think he's going to get – look, when Henderson got hurt the first time, people thought, ooh, Michelle looked good. Henderson's going to be in more of a split, and then Henderson took all the work. And then last week, Henderson missed like a series and a half with an injury, and now people are like, ooh, Sonny Michel's going to get more work. I don't think that's going to happen because it just doesn't seem to be Sean McVay's thing. Like he just seems to like have one guy and just lean on that one guy, right? But Michel is a Daryl Henderson injury away from being a stud. So, yeah, I would grab him.
And you, generally speaking, you get the guy on the better offense, and Rams are definitely one of the best offenses. So going against the Giants defense, you know, chance he scores a touchdown and gets some catches and garbage time, whatever. So.
All right, we got a super chat. Johnny Cause, thank you so much. And by the way, for less than half of your super chat, which we are very appreciative for, we talked about it, you can join our Patreon down below and have us for an entire month every Sunday, just like this, plus other stuff. But we do appreciate the super chat, of course. So he's been holding Javonte, which is smart, Mitchell and Dylan all season, and would like to move on from one of them. Any thoughts? I mean, I think if you're going to move on, boy.
Mitchell.
I want to say Mitchell, but he's getting touches in the 49ers offense, and he's got that, like, insane home run breakaway speed. Like, Dylan is going to need – like, Dylan's been okay lately, but he's going to need an Aaron Jones injury to be anything actually relevant.
Look,
like, Mitchell's going to have bad games because he's a running back who only catches 1 or 2 passes a week, but lots of running backs are like that. But he's getting the bulk of the carries.
here's the way I look at it. You're saying, okay, so Dylan, right? He needs Aaron Jones to miss or something to really be the guy and to be worth starting. So Mitchell was the guy. He's been the guy because there was nobody else. Sermon was out and then everyone's hurt. And he had one good game and that was in week 1, right? So he's not somebody who I think has this untapped potential. I think we've seen what he can do and he could be really good, but I'm honestly at the point where I'm avoiding the 49ers backfield completely because I don't think Kyle Shanahan actually knows what he's doing. I think he thinks he does, but I think he's outsmarting himself at this point. I'm serious. I think he's like, I think he's outsmarting himself. And I think there's just too many moving parts there. And, Jeff Wilson might come back and everyone thinks he's going to be something. And, Sermon is still at some point maybe going to resurface. So now I'd rather take the chance that Dylan does something than to keep hoping that Mitchell becomes something, because I'd rather not have the guy put him in my lineup and he gets 40 yards and we say, oh, what happened? He was the guy. This is kind of what happened last week.
Yeah. Wilson, now they're saying like maybe late November. Like I'm not holding out hope for Wilson at this point. I mean, I think if you have him on IR, it's fine, but that's about it.
Well, and there's the other thing. Trey Lance is the quarterback. You got a running quarterback that's eating into your rushing yardage for the running backs. And that offense is different. With Jimmy G, they needed the running game to kind of keep him afloat. And now it's a different dynamic.
I think Jimmy G is going to be back after the bye. Pretty sure he's going to be back after the bye.
Who knows?
They didn't name Trey Lance. This isn't like a Justin Fields situation where they said like he's our guy for now. I mean, maybe they will coming out of the bye.
Who knows what's going on in San Francisco? And that's why I kind of just don't want any part of it.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, Dylan's just, I mean, sure, if Aaron Jones goes down, Dylan's going to be a beast, of course, but you're banking on.
I think are we nearing the lightning round section?
Yeah, we definitely got to start hitting the lightning round, guys, because we want to get to more of these questions. Again, on the Sunday morning show, we have a lot more time. We really dive into it. Like we can even discuss it with you, like what you're thinking. It's really awesome. So if you want to get in there, check that out below. But let's get into the lightning round here. Try to get through as many of these as we can. Is Ramondre Stevenson a start this week? Only if Harris is out and only if you're desperate. A defense question. Cowboys, Panthers, Bengals.
You want to start somebody against their defense? Yes. Cowboys, Panthers, and Bengals. I have between those, I don't know why, but I guess I actually have the Cowboys ranked higher.
No, Cowboys for sure. For sure. Odell, AJ Green, or Christian Kirk?
Let me just say, if Trevon Diggs doesn't play, I might move that down to Carolina. But yeah, I'd say Cowboys still. Okay, say Odell or Christian Kirk.
Yeah, Odell, AJ Green, or Christian Kirk.
It's so hard. I'm not going to start AJ Green. Just not. I would say Kirk out of that group, but either way, it's a risk.
Yeah, man. I think this is a time where I'd start Odell and just pray, but I don't like any of those guys, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Maybe because Chubb is out, maybe. And Arizona, they probably have to air it out more. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to change it. I'll go Odell too.
All right, we got another super chat. Mark's a good lad. Appreciate it again for less than half of what you just super chatted us, which we appreciate. You with us every Sunday, literally every Sunday morning. Let's see. Standard scoring. Trading away CMC and Deontay Johnson for Zeke and Kadarius Toney. They may offer Ridley instead of Toney. Now, if you get Zeke and Ridley, I say 100% you do that.
Yeah, there's a big difference between Ridley and Toney. So I would not. You don't want to do that otherwise.
I don't know if I would do it. Deontay and CMC for Zeke and Toney. If you can get Ridley, yes. No if you could do CMC for Zeke straight up, if you're like, because I think Zeke's going to be fine, I would do that. But I don't know if I would give up CMC and Deontay for Zeke and Toney, who we may have seen as best.
There's no way I do that. No.
But yeah, if you can get Ridley, if you can get Zeke and Ridley, I would absolutely do that.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on. Should I start Bateman or sit him? I think we both agree you sit him this week.
Sit him.
All right, full PPR, Emmanuel Sanders, Kadarius Toney, or Cortland Sutton.
I have Sanders a little bit higher than Sutton.
Yeah, I go Sanders there as well. Seals Jones or Dan Arnold in full PPR.
Oh, good old Dan Arnold. Look, I like Dan Arnold. Mentioned him as a sleeper in the preseason. I love that he's with Jacksonville now because he's getting targeted because, why throw it to Laviska Shenault when you have Dan Arnold? But I'm going Seals Jones. It's a Seals Jones week.
I agree. How are we feeling about Mike Williams? Not good. Don't think he's going to play. And if he does, I'm very worried that he will be limited.
Yeah.
Let's see. Full PPR, Tyler Lockett, Daryl Williams, or Mike Williams. Well, let's assume Mike Williams. If Mike Williams was 100%, it would obviously be him. But I'm going to assume Mike Williams doesn't play. So Tyler Lockett or Daryl Williams.
I've been saying I'm down on Tyler Lockett all night, but I would put him in over Daryl Williams. I'm not expecting a big game from Williams.
Oh, man. I'd probably go.
Look, Chiefs running backs. Why is the backup running back going to be any better than the starter? And not like Clyde Edwards-Helaire was, ripping it up. So
we'll see. Flexing those bangs. That's right. DH, I'm an idiot for not trading CMC. I mean, look, nobody expected CMC to randomly land on IR all of a sudden. They should have put him on IR weeks ago. But oh well. Oh boy, here we go. Damien Harris or Shenault for the flex. Never Shenault, but can I put Damien Harris over him?
Oh, Damien Harris is questionable. I mean, Dallas gets up on them. We know it's going to happen, right? We know that game script goes against New England. They stop running the ball. So I'd go Shenault.
I say never Shenault, but I think in this case I actually do.
Never say never.
I'd be looking at my phone all morning just going like, why did I play Shenault? At least Damien Harris has like 1.5 points. All right. Khalil Herbert or never Shenault. Definitely never Shenault there. That's an easy one.
Yeah. Khalil Herbert.
And then Heineke or Daniel Jones. That's an easy one for me too.
Heineke.
Definitely Heineke. Big Lenny, AB or Woods. Hey, AB's already got 24 points. Just get him in your lineup. It's easy. Easy game, Big Lenny. Easy game. All right. Nathan McCullough. Sterling Shepard, Rondell Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Ruggs?
Ruggs is too risky. Bad matchups, so not Ruggs. Shepard, we think he would be okay as a start, but again, not a good matchup for him. So I don't think I would put Shepard in. I like St. Brown. I've been saying it all night too, so I would stick with St. Brown.
Yeah, it's I want to say Shepard, especially with Galladay out. St. Brown. I mean, yeah, St. Brown has a nice floor, but I just feel like that Lions offense is so like, bleh. But I don't know. Maybe the Giants
offense without Barkley.
It was good with Saquon. It was good the first 2 weeks for Shepard, but yeah, St. Brown safer. Okay, here you go. Let's see how low you are on Daryl Williams. Gaskin or Daryl Williams?
Gaskin.
Whoa, man.
Like that. Hey, look, I'm not down on Gaskin. I think Gaskin is a really solid start this week.
Oh, geez.
Jacksonville.
I know it's Jacksonville, but I'm worried that he's going to go back to getting like three touches because they don't need him. They don't need him this week. They needed him last week because look, Malcolm Brown and Salman Ahmed aren't catching passes out of that backfield. So I don't know.
Who is back, so everything is fine now.
Okay. All right, here's a kicker question for you because I don't answer these. Evan McGoatson, I don't even know who that is, from Cincy. Greg Joseph or Michael Badgley?
Oh, Michael Badgley from the U. Just signed with Indianapolis. No, as much as I like Badgley, you can't. Look, I actually have McPherson and Joseph both as in my top 6 kicker rankings. Yes, I do kicker rankings each week. I have McPherson at 5 and Joseph at 6. McPherson gets to play in the dome. Cincinnati is one of those teams that loves to get near the red zone and then not score touchdowns sometimes. Joseph's been on fire lately, but I just don't know they're going to put up as many points against Carolina. So I have McPherson barely over Joseph.
There you go. All right, Johnny Calls, another super chat. Appreciate it. What are our thoughts on Rashad Bateman rest of season?
Well, rest of season, really like him. I said it over and over again. If anybody who loyal viewers who happen to watch us back in April for our off-season content, look, if you didn't, by the way, guys, we're going to do this all year long. Like when football season ends, we don't stop. We are going to keep going. We're going to talk about next year, sleepers, breakouts. We're going to look at draft, all that stuff. Anyways, back in April, when we did our rookie wide receiver pre-draft rankings, I had Bateman, I think, right behind Jamar Chase. We're both really high on Bateman. Don't love the landing spot, but now we do because look at Hollywood Brown. He's been going off. Sammy Watkins has even been fantasy relevant a couple of times. With Watkins out, we can't expect much this week because Bateman's in the first game. But I actually would like Bateman, buying him low in redraft if you have the space to stash him along with Liz Chenault. And then, I mean, he's not going to be a top 20 receiver necessarily, but I do like him as somebody to keep on benches.
Yep, I agree. Like him more rest of the season for sure. Good stash. Antonio Gibson or Myles Gaskin? Gibson. Right?
Gibson. Yeah, yes, definitely Gibson.
I don't know. I want to make sure. I don't know how high you are on Gaskin. How high you are on the Dolphins with Tua back this week.
I'm not that high.
All right. Trade away Keenan Allen for Calvin Ridley in standard scoring.
In standard scoring, yeah, actually, I would do that. I mean, I'm irrationally high on Ridley this year. I've got to lower the expectations a little bit now, but still, in standard, I'd rather have Ridley.
I agree. Let's see. Okay, half PPR need 2. Hunter Henry, Tim Patrick, Hunter Renfrow, and Waddle.
I'm not going to take a tight end over receivers. I mean, Waddle makes sense. Again, last week made sense and he didn't, but I like Tua coming back. I'll go Waddle for 1.
Yeah.
And this is full PPR or
no,
doesn't
half PPR. Hunter Henry, Tim Patrick, Hunter Renfrow.
Okay, so if it's half PPR, that dings Renfrow, and I would go Patrick.
I agree. Those two. Lockett or Brandon Cooks?
I'm going to go with Cooks.
Yes, definitely Cooks. Mixon or James Robinson?
That is tough. I have them right next to each other. We don't know if this is PPR.
Don't know. We'll just assume PPR.
In full PPR, it's Mixon. In standard, I actually give the edge to Robinson. So split the difference.
There you go. Hubbard or Khalil Herbert?
This is interesting. That's an interesting one. I have Hubbard a little bit higher just because the offense and look, the Bears might not have the luxury of running too much against the Packers. So even though we both like Herbert, I don't know that he's going to be as involved as Hubbard.
Yeah, I think I have Hubbard slightly higher. Robert Woods, Marquis Brown.
That's tough. I actually have Woods higher this week.
Ooh, I can't. Marquis Brown, I hate to say it, I was wrong. He's every week must start for me. But I hope you're right about Robert Woods because I have way more Robert Woods than Marquis Brown. That's for sure.
We know that. Look at it. I'm not down on Brown at all. It's just I'm feeling that's how high I am back on Robert Woods again.
Nice. I hope you're right. Allen Robinson or Darnell Mooney?
Actually, I'm going Mooney. Going Mooney over Robinson because, I mean, statistically, he's been the better receiver this year, but also Robinson had an ankle issue all week. Questionable going into the game, so he might be hobbled. He might not play. I think it's Mooney.
And then Josh Jacobs or Javonte Williams?
Jacobs. I actually like Jacobs a lot this week.
Yeah, Jacobs for sure. Odell or St. Brown?
I'm gonna look. Odell could do something, have a big play, big game, but I'm gonna take the security of St. Brown.
Yeah. Lawrence or Darnold? Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold?
Oh, well. Like Sam Darnold hasn't been the same quarterback without McCaffrey in the lineup. We've seen this, you say, oh, he started off hot. Now he's fading. The last 2 games have been the ones where McCaffrey hasn't been there. and Darnold has struggled. So I actually am a little bit down on him, even though I don't like Minnesota's defense. I don't think it's very good. I think Lawrence still has the upside because even though this sounds crazy because Darnold was leading the league in rushing touchdowns, Lawrence is also running it in, and Darnold's not doing that anymore. I don't think that's a thing anymore. So I'm going to go with the upside of Lawrence.
Wait, you mean Sam Darnold isn't going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns this year?
Maybe not.
Let's see. Full PPR pick 2, Tyreek Hill, Daryl Henderson, Deontay Johnson.
I mean, if Tyreek Hill's playing, you play him.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill for sure.
And then Daryl Henderson or who?
Deontay Johnson.
It's Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I think so. Deontay Johnson. Prescott or Heineke. Look, I love Heineke's boom this week, but I'm not starting him over Dak Prescott. No way. Carr or Heineke. Definitely.
I think you said something. Didn't you say everyone's asking because you said something like, Heineke could be the QB1 this week? And
no, that was Jalen Hurts, who's not going to be who's not going to be the QB1 unfortunately, but he still is going to be like a top 10 quarterback this week, maybe even top 5. I said Tyler Heineke top 5 this week.
Top 5. Okay.
Carr, Heineke, definitely Heineke.
Definitely
Heineke. Do I start Tony or Waddle over AJ Brown? Not Tony. Can I start Waddle over AJ Brown? I'm really low on AJ Brown, but I don't know if I'm that low on AJ Brown.
Yeah. I mean, how high is the ceiling for Waddle? That's the thing. We've seen at his best, I don't hate Waddle, but I think I'd rather take the chance that Brown does make a big play and takes one to the house, like he's done. Unless Brown is really that, bothered by injury, if he's just that limited. So
no, I still got to start AJ Brown.
Yeah, I'd keep Brown.
All right, pick 3, Jamar Chase, Mike Williams. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, unless we get some crazy news in the morning, like Mike Williams, 100% good to go, no issues whatsoever, which is unlikely, not him. So that would be Chase, Keenan Allen, and Terry McLaurin. But I think all 3 will have great games. Let's see. We did that one.
By the way, guys, we're nearing the end here. We're going to get a few more questions in, but
yeah.
Again, if you didn't get your question answered, well, there's an easy way to do that. Become a patron, click on the link in the description below, support us. Instead of jumping in the super chat, you can join us Sunday morning for an even more up-to-date and in-depth start-sit show with fewer people. So anyways, think about it.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find just a couple more what we haven't talked about yet. Okay, here's one. Should I keep Alexander Madison at flex, being that Dalvin Cook is now healthy?
No, I don't think so. We haven't heard that Cook is going to be on a snap count or anything like that. So you got to assume he's good. So probably Madison doesn't have much value unless Cook happens to get hurt in game.
Yeah, let's do a couple trade questions at the end. Would you trade Alex Collins for Javonte Williams? Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. Hit smash on that right now.
Yeah. Now here's an interesting one. CeeDee Lamb and Zach Moss for Stephon Diggs.
I'd rather have Diggs, which is, early before the season, I would have said no, because I thought Lamb was going to be, kind of break out this year. He still could, but this offense just has too many options. So I'd rather take Diggs.
Yeah, I'd rather take Diggs. And like I said earlier, Diggs has been getting the same very similar opportunity. He's like wide receiver 10 in expected fantasy points. It's just not happening yet. It's going to start happening. So I take the Diggs side easily. All right, guys, appreciate it. I definitely have to go because I have dinner in about 45 minutes that I got to get to. But we appreciate you guys. Don't forget down below, get in that Patreon. You can join us every Sunday morning, plus other cool stuff. The Discord, that's free. Definitely check that out. And if you somehow have not yet, subscribe to the channel so you can get these videos all week.
What are you waiting for? And so those who do choose to join Patreon or already are patrons and they're just here, more content coming forth. Okay, I already put my early rankings in for week 6, about to put updated rankings in, video just for our patrons. Again, we appreciate all the support, even if you're just here watching, and even if all you did is hit subscribe. look, we're happy to help you. We're going to do this every week. And again, all off season, all year long, here to help you win. That's our goal.
All right, guys. Good night and good luck in week 6. We'll see.